We had this achievement data in maths that clearly showed us, despite what we thought was really good practice, our Māori children were actually being less successful year after year.
We had only 64% of our Māori students achieving at national standard or beyond, and yet we had 81% of our school-wide cohort achieving at national standard or beyond.
What Wendy found out through her research took us all by surprise.
What we were doing at Hoon Hay was totally unacceptable. We were actually streaming our kids for maths. They were moving to different classes from year 3 to year 6. So after 2 years of schooling, we were deciding who was going to be in the low stream and who was going to be in the top stream.
What we found through the research was that teachers make judgments about children and where they're at, depending on which ability group they're in.
If they have a lower ability group, they teach rules, procedures and basic facts. If they teach a high ability group, it's all about investigation and problem solving. It labelled children so that they believed they couldn't do maths, or they thought they had to do maths and couldn't take risks. 2012, we decided to prioritise maths as our sole professional development. The decision was made to do away with between-class streaming. We introduced a problem-solving approach which heavily relied on maths talk, and that was getting the children to share their ideas and learn from each other.
It makes you think more about things, and when you disagree, it challenges you and you get to learn from that.
We decided to use reversibility, which would make it a multiplication question. So the new question is 0.4 times, we don't know yet, equals 7.2.
Their role in that classroom is to ask questions and answer questions. That is their job as a mathematician.
How do you know that 0.4 times 3 equals 1.2?
Constantly having to think about why they've done things.
0.4 plus 0.4 equals 0.8, and then plus another 0.4, which equals 1.2.
There's an absolute expectation that the classroom will be respectful of each other's contributions.
When I went to school, we were pigeonholed into ability grouping, and I was often put in the lowest group, therefore seen not as a mathematician or not an able person. It really affected how I thought about maths and how I viewed myself.
A really great teacher strategy is called assigning competence. This is when a teacher chooses a child that they know are not feeling that great about their maths on that particular topic. So they might say, Ben, would you like to share your thinking? And Ben might say, no, he didn't want to share his thinking. So then you say, Ben, would it be all right if I share your thinking? So you share Ben's thinking, and then you choose a child that has traditional high status in that maths classroom, and you link their thinking to Ben's. So you're actually lining the two together. And Ben's sitting there thinking, oh, I must know something about that. And Amy's thinking, Ben and I came up with that idea.
I like maths because I'm best at it out of everything. Teachers are good. They make sure that you don't feel like you're just put in a lower group, like we all work together.
Someone once told me that 4/5 is the same as 5/4. You have to show your thinking in visual maths. We usually organise the maths partnerships, and what we do is we usually change them 2-3 times a term.
Instead of working alone, which is quite hard because you don't hear other people's ideas, but working with a buddy you can collaborate.
They know that people are not going to make fun of them for making a mistake, that actually this is how we learn.
5 circles to represent the denominator.
They'll work out a problem and they'll have 2 different answers, but rather than saying, one of them's wrong and give up, they'll be like, can I share my 2 strategies on the whiteboard and the class help me work out where I've gone wrong?
And we realised it was an improper fraction, so we drew 4 more circles underneath and we coloured in 1.
So what we're noticing is that the longer children are at Hoon Hay, the higher they achieve against national expectation by year 4, 5 and 6. 94%, 94%, 92%, 96% of our year 6 children achieving at or beyond national expectation. Even more exciting was the fact that our Māori students, 94% of them were achieving at or above national standard.
Our parents were able to come into the school and see what was happening in classrooms. We ran information evenings.
So different. When I was a kid, it was the right or the wrong way of doing it.
But also what they're hearing is their children talking about maths.
Ms. MacArthur has to get a fox and a duck and a sack of corn across the river. So what would you take first?
I would take the fox. I would take the duck because the fox can still eat the duck.
So we know that the maths story here at Hoon Hey bucks the national trend of year 4 to 6 children disengaging with mathematics, so much so that they say that maths is their second favourite subject in the school day behind PE.
I agree because 5 is greater than 4.
They get the chance to have their contribution valued within the classroom by themselves, by their teacher, by their peers. They feel worthwhile. They know that they are mathematicians.
And 6, we did something similar but with chocolate bars. 0.4 times 10. A bigger number than the denominator. So now we just need to add 15 and 3. And that's our answer, which is 18.